Hi there, everybody, and hope you're having a good Monday. I'm Russ Lewis here in the KHOU newsroom. We welcome all of you watching on our digital platforms today. We do appreciate that. We see the stories you're clicking on our websites and other digital platforms here, so we want to run down a couple of those for you right now. The big one is that shooting in Fort Worth, and we have some new information about that officer-involved shooting today. If you're just getting up to speed on the story from over the weekend, a neighbor had called police in Fort Worth because he noticed neighbor's front door open, and it had been open for some time. He was worried that somebody had broken into that house. So officers arrived to check out the situation, see what was going on, and as they were searching around the outside of the house, one of the officers saw somebody inside, yelled to that person, and then almost immediately pulled his service weapon and right there fired through the window from the outside, shot inside there, and killed 28-year-old Tatiana Jefferson. It turns out that she's the homeowner, that she had every right to be in there, and the officer fired very quickly there. So we've learned here today that the officer has resigned from the force. He'd only been on that Fort Worth force about a year and a half. His name has not been released. The next door neighbor is distraught, as you might imagine. He thought he was being a good neighbor. He was. He saw the front door open and he called for police to check it out, but he feels as if, if he hadn't placed that call to police, that his neighbor would still be alive today. The family, very upset, as you might imagine as well. And what they're saying today, after seeing that body cam footage, they're saying there was no time for the officer even to perceive a threat from inside, from the woman there. It would just happen so quick. He saw the woman, yelled out, and then fired the gun. It was all just in a matter of a second or two, it seemed like anyway. So the family's saying that today. We also learned that the woman, Ms. Jefferson, had her young nephew with her in the room when she was shot and killed. The child, as far as we know, not hurt. So the police chief is promising a full investigation. We haven't heard yet exactly what form that'll take, who will do it, how long it'll take, but we will obviously keep following the story and keep you posted when we get more information. It's still very new here, but a lot's come out today that we didn't know yesterday on that story. The other big story we're following is from last night's ball game, and if you were watching, if you stayed up till midnight, you saw Carlos Correa hit that walk-off homer. Did you know, though, that he was doing that for someone very special? We found that out. Turns out that he hit that shot for this boy here from Laredo. That's Carlos, and his girlfriend visited this boy who's here in Houston from Laredo, has been battling bone cancer for a couple of years. His name's Jalen Garcia, and when they visited him on Friday, Carlos told the boy, look, next home run I hit's going to be for you. Just want you to know that. Didn't predict he would hit one to end an ALCS game, but he did say the next one I hit is for you, and I'll be pointing at you when I hit it. You see the tweet right there, actually from his girlfriend, and that's what he told Jalen Garcia. And if you saw Correa last night, there he is, running around the bases, pointing at Jalen. Hopefully he was staying up and watching that. It was at midnight when that finally happened. And if you're tired today, right along with me, I guess we know why, right? It was a late night, but it was a good ending, and even a better story the next day when we find out that Carlos Correa came out of that slump and did it for a sick teenager from Laredo, Texas. That was very cool. All right, so Game 3 coming up tomorrow in New York. It is a travel day for the Astros and the Yankees. David Paul, I know you're watching the weather back east, but you're also watching our weather here in Houston because there's some rain out there.
What a great weekend weather-wise, sports-wise. Astros with a walk-off homer last night, and of course the Texans winning on the road in Kansas City. The next games up in New York for the Astros actually will have a big impact, or the weather will have a big impact on the series, as we may get a rain out, which may help the pitching rotation and both teams get an extra day of rest. More on that in just a second. We are watching scattered showers out here right now. We're going to get scattered evening thunderstorms, hit and miss. Things will settle down tonight, and then tomorrow we get more storms, especially in the afternoon and evening, as our next cold front comes in. This one will not be a strong cold front. It'll just cool things off a little bit, but we'll take it. Here's the way we stand right now on the radar. Actually, most of the rain today has been just to our north and east. A complete washout just missed us by only about 100, 150 miles. We are still getting scattered showers and thunderstorms, and you can see them moving through Montgomery County now. Conroe, the lake about to get wet. Cut and Shoot, you guys are getting wet there. Willis as well. Just had some showers roll across the Tascasita, Humble Lake, Houston area. East side now, just north of Baytown, you're getting a thunder shower there on the east side. That's moving into Anahuac and Mont Bellevue. That's your rain right now. Galveston's been rainy off and on all day today. This will eventually lift up and out of here, but for the rest of the afternoon at least, while we have some heat, we're going to see this chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now, it gets interesting. Here's our next weather system. That's our next cold front. That's the one that will race across and give us another chance for rain tomorrow and then cool us off a little bit late week. But that's also the one that will impact the World Series. It'll impact the American League Championship Series. I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is the way we look tomorrow at this time, or tomorrow afternoon around 5 o'clock. We're warm. We get a south breeze. But this is where our front will be, pushing into North Texas tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then as it pushes in overnight, Tuesday night, into Wednesday morning, that's when we'll have our next chance for rain and thunder as the front pushes through. And you can see what it's going to do. See the north wind coming in behind it? That's not going to be a Canadian cold air. It'll just be kind of a mild cool down for later in the week, but it will cool us down, drop the humidity, and dry us out, and that'll be nice. The same system at the same time on Wednesday, going into Wednesday afternoon and lasting into the evening, will produce a whole lot of rain up the East Coast. And so New York, Astros Yanks, that would be game 4 on Wednesday. That's a likely rain out because it rains from the late morning through the evening hours. I don't know if they'll be able to postpone it or wait it out. That's probably a cancellation, which helps our pitching rotation get an extra day of rest. It also helps their pitchers get an extra day of rest. So this will impact the series significantly. Weather always a factor in sports and everything else, it seems. And then things get really interesting. Let me show you what I've been working on in my secret underground lair here in the weather office this afternoon. Cold air. So notice how it's up here. Old Crow's at 10 degrees right now. These are current temps. If Houston is going to get a cold air outbreak, it almost always originates here in northwest Canada, in the Klondike, and then into Alaska. And that's where the cold air is beginning to pool right now. So that's interesting. And then the jet stream pattern is always interesting. And here's what's happening. So again, we've got that cold air established up here. We've also got a dip in the jet stream out here right now. So here's the Gulf of Alaska. So this is the next dip in the jet stream over the Gulf of Alaska. That dip opens the door for some of that cold air to head south into the dip in the jet. So that would be our next pocket of cold air coming in here later on in about a week's time or so. That's our next storm. But there's another player involved, and that's this. See that little piece of purple? That's a jet streak. Those are winds in the upper levels. We're talking about winds up here at 34,000 feet. Those are winds above 150 miles an hour, getting closer to 200 miles an hour in the upper levels. That jet streak, when you see it upstream of a developing trough, that almost always ends up magnifying the intensity of that trough downstream. So watch how this all plays out. We'll put it in motion. We go through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is next Monday, so a week from today. That's the resultant trough. Look at that. That's a huge one. And that big dip in the jet stream should open the door to bring in some much colder air as we go into next week. So if you're wondering when our next big cool down is likely to come, it's a week away that you may have to pull the jackets and sweaters, maybe a coat back out for that one. So here's our 7-day forecast. So we're warming up. We've got scattered showers this afternoon. Tuesday we may reach 90 with a 60% chance for rain in the late afternoon and evening. I think the morning's okay, but afternoon and evening scattered thunder showers pop on Tuesday. Wednesday, it's morning showers. Again, that's going to be as that cold front comes through Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. But by Wednesday afternoon, the sun comes out. And then I think we're just beautiful. Thursday and Friday, very nice. I left out the exclamation point there. Very nice. Lows in the 50s and low 60s Thursday and Friday. We start to warm back up ahead of that next system, that big dip in the jet. We warm up Saturday 85, Sunday 83. We're also going to begin to increase rain chances ahead of that next system. to 30% Saturday, 40% Sunday. I don't think either day is a washout. And then Monday, we've got a 40% rain chance, and we'll get a wind shift to the west. That's interesting. When we get a west wind in the fall, that's almost always the sign of a strong system moving in. It doesn't just go to the north, it comes out of the west first. And so that would be the arrival, the transition day, sometime Monday, maybe late Monday, when we get that stronger cold front coming in. All right, so lots going on and to keep track of in the weather department this week. That's all we've got for now. We'll see you for a complete update. We'll be talking more about how this weather change in New York and the rain on Wednesday will impact the pitching rotation up there for the ALCS. Coming up on the 411 on the TV side at 4 o'clock. We'll see you then.